Guys, welcome to the stream. So we should have an interesting one this week, because in the second race there's going to be rain, so we're going to have a very wet race. I believe it's starting with rain and then drying out, so should be interesting to see how people get on with it being reverse grid in that weather as well, making it a bit more awkward to get the overtakes done. But obviously, as usual, we're starting off at the short version of the track. And I believe they're normally set at random, but this has been set to a specific time of day so that it doesn't rain, with the second race being a wet race. Unfortunately, it looks like there might be a few issues in lobby 2, but hopefully they'll get sorted for those guys, as we just watch on board with Puck for now. The lobby doesn't look the most stable tonight, unfortunately, so hopefully that won't cause us any issues. guess at what teams we've got in our lobby tonight, so let me just find out for us. So we have got Laston the Furious, which is Rock, Roses and Hansa, but I don't think Roses is making it tonight, so unfortunately it might just be two of them in that one. Then we've got Plebs, which is Slugsy, Austin SRT. So they went well last time, so see if they can have a good race again. Then we've got Asylum Outlaws, who is Lucky Bucky, Governor and Christian, who again, they had fairly decent races, especially Gov had a really good race last time, but got pipped to the win by King Ears, so he'll want to get that back. We've got DTR, which is Pup, DTR Cars and Scary Guy. So obviously we've seen them race before. I think we've seen every team race before now anyway. And then the Furious 3 again, which is Tim, King Ears and Baz. So obviously those three be the team to beat, I think, at the moment, because they had a good result last time out. This is out on the tracks. We've got Tim out on the track. So qualifying should start at 8 o'clock, so everybody's aware. So we've got 10 minutes for these guys to practice before qualifying will start. Does look like there might be a few issues going on for Lobby 2, struggling to get people to join, so hopefully they get that sorted out. They've still got 10 minutes to do that. See what other cars we've got. Hansa, who's been doing well in that Jag. In the Aston. Very Halloweeny looking livery, that one. Slugsy's right up behind him in that NSX as they practice. Slugsy, who picked his teammate last week to a 3rd place. As Rockzilla might have hit Baz there or got in his way or something. Hey Paul, you should be in this lobby, mate. I don't know how much you've been paying Tim to sort that random wheel out for you. And Rockzilla now getting in Osway. I'm not liking the look of the lobbies tonight. They're looking a bit on the unstable side compared to what we've had recently, which has been fairly decent, to be fair. Well, only decent because of how bad this game has had the lobbies at points. But hopefully it doesn't cause any issues in the races. As someone goes off behind Roxzilla there. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's been alright in the last few rounds, Paul, but this one is looking a little bit on the shaky side. As you can see, Roxzilla's shaking about a bit there. So people might have to be a bit more careful when doing overtakes tonight. And I don't think it's certain people, because it seems to be happening whoever I'm on. It looks like your lobby's finally been sorted out, Paul. It's incredible how we've got one person that always struggles to join in depending on who's hosting the lobby. We've not looked at SRT yet. Hopefully SRT doesn't have any problems this week. He had really bad connection problems last week. He got disconnected out of both races and out of qualifying as well. I think there's two people in that team in the NSX, Slugsy and SRT, and an Austin a Porsche for them. Buzzing the Furious 3, or Team McGann as they should be called. As Tim struggles to get past Baz's paused car. Obviously just deliberately pushing him along. He has now gone past him. As we've got Governor and DTR just watching. And Kingy is setting the pace at the moment. But only practice, so not long now before the race should start. 2 or 3 minutes before qualifying should start, I should say. Hey Blitz. Who you cheering on to win, Blitz? You got any preferences in this one? You're not in this lobby, Paul. We established that. You should be, though. You can't win both lobbies if you're only in one of them. A pup. We've got some tough competition in this one with King Gears, Governor, Baz, SRT, Os, Slugsy. There's quite a few fast guys in this one. Rockzilla as well, so... As DTR Cars and Governor got fed up of watching the action. Ost is still watching the action though. Hey DTR, good luck in this one, mate. Oh, and Lucky's coming to watch as well. But the game does not want Lucky parked next to Ost, it just keeps resetting him. Paul wouldn't dare do that blitz, you know that. As qualifying should be getting underway any minute now, which is why some of these guys are just sitting around. But Kingy's setting the way pace-wise. Only to you though, Blitz. And he's been practicing now anyway. So he's lightning quick at the moment, is Paul. He's been putting in about 30-40 hours worth of practice for this. Nah, I think Sam's too busy to drive, Blitz. Looks like everybody's in the lobby. I know someone just said be right back, so I'll get started in a minute. Yeah, good luck in your one, Paul. Lost did well to keep that out the wall. As DTR car puts him in the wall. So does Scaredy Guy. Hey, Bad Dog. Yeah, dry for the first race though, bad dog. Second race will be wet. Just get underway for qualifying. See who's managed to get out first. Rockzilla by the looks of it. We don't have all the cameras. Superb game. So where's Rockzilla? He was front of the queue. So we're just watching on board with Rockzilla. He can show us how this lap's done. See if he can set the mark for everybody else to beat. He just comes around the final corner to start his lap. Lifted off there by the looks of it. Don't know if he missaw his braking point or what. See if these guys can do the short version of this track in the dry and then remember to change up their braking points for the wet at the longer track. Rock looking to set a benchmark for everybody else here. Looking like a clean banker to get in. That looks like what Rockzilla's doing here. He's just trying to make sure he sets a nice decent start lap to then push later on. He just comes around the final corner. So let's see what benchmark he sets for everybody. Lifted again there, that was weird. Maybe that's just the look of the game. So 112.4 with Buck goes just behind him and Handler, so Slugsy and Baz go ahead. So let's watch Slugsy now if he's got the provisional pole at the moment. As Os goes up into second between Baz and Slugsy. But Kingy goes provisional pole now by 3/10. So Kingy's flying again as usual in qualifying. Kingy currently the man to beat in this series, it looks like. As Slugsy goes for the spin. Let's see who's coming to cross the line. See what Baz can do. His teammates put the same car on provisional pole, so can Baz match it? No, he's a 1/10.5 down on his time, so unlikely. Let's see whether Os can improve on his time. He went up to second and has been knocked down to fifth now, as Hansa improves and goes up to third, and Rock improved and went up to second. Scary Guy sets an improvement there, as Os sets a very similar line but can't improve. Hey Henry. So let's see who else can get back on with Rock. Whereabouts he? It'll be oh no, Governor goes in between. So Kingy and Governor both improve there. There is nothing between those two. A 0.907 and a 0.914, was it, I believe? So that's incredibly close at the top, so we'll go on board with one of them in a minute, as Rock is improving his time, but not by enough to trouble those two guys at the front. does make a big improvement. So only 700ths between the top 3 guys here as they're coming onto the final lap. 7,000ths between Kingy and Governor. So can Kingy improve, and will Governor be able to nick the pole off him as Bucky improves on his final lap? Kingy does improve with that slipstream coming onto the straight. So let's see what Governor can do now. Hey, Issa. The timer ran out before Governor could get to the line. How unlucky, because Governor looked like he could have been on a good lap there. It was hard to tell, though, because we didn't see the whole lap. We've not had that happen before in qualifying. The time must have been set shorter accidentally. So let's just go through the order now. We've got Kingy on pole, followed by Governor, Rockzilla, Hansa, Slugsy, Ost, Baz, SRT, Pup, Christian, Lucky, Scary, D-Max, DTR, and Tim. So that's our order for this one. Tim quite a bit off the pace there. So I don't know whether he didn't set a lap or whether he just had issues or what. Well, that's a long way to be off the pace. Maybe he just had issues of some sort and didn't get a clean lap in. Yeah, it was strange about that last lap, as Rock's saying there. Maybe that'll be have to be mentioned to make sure that doesn't happen next time. It's not happened before. Hey, Ray. I'll do this, but we're probably going to lose the view we want and have to quickly get off anyway. As we do. So hopefully it comes back up for us. It comes back down the order a little bit. See as Kingy gets a good start from pole. Governor gets a big slide round turn 1. Baz looks like he's made up a few positions off the start there. So that McGann is very good off the start line by the looks of it. As someone goes spinning in the background, there was definitely contact made, but I don't know who made contact with who. As Hansa slows right down, so was it Hansa? It didn't look like Hansa made contact with anyone, but maybe he did. So let's move back to the front now, as Kingy has already got out of slipstream range, but Governor in the car that's better down the straights. But that McGann will be great through this middle sector of the track. Oh, nice one, Henry. Great to hear. We've got Kingy is currently leading us away with Governor in second chasing him down. Going to want revenge over that last race where Kingy pipped him. Rockzilla right behind them as well. Bit of a gap to Baz. So he'll be wanting to close up to get in that slipstream. This is where his car should be good. But you've got Slugsy all over the back of him. And SRT all over the back of him as well. But they are teammates, so I can't see them guys fighting. As we've got Christian, Pup and Bucky. So Pup is in a race, an Asylum Outlaws sandwich there. D-Max racing. Ooh, gets a bit sideways there as DTR gets past and Tim gets back. Ost has somehow ended up at the back of the pack. So maybe Ost got caught up in that incident at the start, or maybe Ost was the one that spun and Hansa behind him. So it must have been, I didn't see any contact from Hansa, but it must have been between Hansa and Ost, because obviously Hansa did drop right back to the back of the pack. So Kingy just pulling away from Governor now. And they've both pulled away from Rockzilla. Must have been an issue. And Baz is now side by side with Rockzilla. With Slugsy now going for the move. Slugsy takes advantage there. Very good move from Slugsy, taking advantage of Rock getting passed by Baz. Can his teammate take advantage as well? Looks like he will try to. As Rock just runs wide. Can SRT get by? No, Rock manages to come back across. So Rockzilla getting swamped here after a good start. And Slugsy, Baz is starting to pull away from Slugsy, so Slugsy will want to get after Baz to get on that podium. But SRT all over the back of Rockzilla now, looking for the move. We'll expect an attempted move down into turn 1, but Christian is all over him as well. Rockzilla, there must be something wrong with Rockzilla's pedals or something, because he was having issues in qualifying by the looks of it, and I thought it was just the thing. But he seems like he's struggling here, and he's backing everybody up. So I'm not sure if Rockzilla's having a few issues. As SRT does go for the move, and he does get that done cleanly, as Rockzilla just goes straight on. I didn't see any contact, but Rockzilla goes straight on, so there might have been. Has anybody waited up? No, so I'm not quite sure what happened. Oh no, Christian has waited up. So unfortunately, Christian must have made contact with Rockzilla there. So that's unfortunate, but that allows us to move forward. But us struggling to get through this pack here after a poor start. Hansa as well. As someone else is off up ahead, it's DTR. Can he hold it together? He does. But Oster's going to have to watch out here, as it does look a bit laggy, the lobby here. As DTR then lets us by, because I think he thinks he cut him off a bit, which I think you could argue he might have done. But it looks like there's a few people struggling with lag here, unfortunately. So let's move back to the front then. So Kingy's got a nice, just over a second gap now. Yeah, they can, Henry, but all over the place, but I think the lag's not helping because a few of the cars seem to be jittering about a little bit. The Governor is trying to get back in that slipstream of Kingy so he can have a run on him down into turn 1, because that is the faster car on the straights, but obviously Kingy's car will be much nicer through this section of the track. But Governor really pushing now by the looks of it. No, again, just round that long left, Kingy's just able to pull that gap a little bit again. But Governor, now they're on the straight a bit, can get back up on him a little bit here. So Governor looking like he's going to set a new fastest lap, and it looks like he's going to get back in slipstream now as well. Can he hang with him though on this next lap, as he does set the fastest lap of the race? So Kingy sets the fastest lap, and then Gov takes it straight off him. So Gov now has got right back up on Kingy, so if he can stick with him so he's in slipstream at the start of the straight on the next lap, he might be able to go for something. So we'll check back in on this in a minute, so let's see what's happening with Baz. Baz got a bit of a queue of cars behind him now. Slugsy and SRT, the teammates, all over the back of Baz here. With Pup not far behind, and Lucky Bucky right on his rear as well. So this is a good little battle for third place, the final spot on the podium here. So let's just flick back to the front and see if Gov's hanging on to Kingy, which he is. So he's a little bit closer this time than he was last time. Quite a lot closer, actually. Yeah, Bad Dog, it's been alright in this series so far, really, compared to how it has been in the past, but this one does look a little bit ropey, unfortunately. As Governor gets a bad exit out the final corner. Not what he wanted there. He's got all over the back of King Gears, but he's got no chance of a move into turn 1 thanks to that poor exit out the final corner. As we see Baz in the background with that train of cars all right behind him there. So yeah, Baz still holding off Slugsy and SRT. But there's a train of cars behind him, and then this next pack, Hansa, has got to the front with Tim just behind him and Ost all over Tim now. So Ost will be wanting to get by as well to keep chasing after Hansa. And then we have Rockzilla and Christian with a bit of a gap, but DTR is right over on the back of Christian, and D-Max has been struggling in that, but I believe he's a last-minute reserve possibly. So. But we have lost someone. We definitely started the race with 15, so I'm not 100% sure who we've lost. So if anyone does notice, let me know. As Kingy has started to pull a bit of a gap again now. So Gov needs to push, and maybe just pushing that little bit too much to try and stay with Kingy. But they are both pulling away from Baz behind, who's doing a good job of holding. Something must have happened behind, yes. Pupper's got past SRT, and Slugsy has massively dropped away from Baz on that lap. After being right up behind him at the start of that lap, he's now 1.6 seconds behind. So something must have happened on that lap. Maybe a bit of fighting with his teammate. And that might be what allowed Pup by. As we see Pup in the background battling away with SRT now. And Lucky Bucky right there looking to capitalise on anything. Oh, yeah, SRT's a bit all over the place with the lag there, unfortunately. And as you can see, Pup's car jumping around a little bit as well. Maybe wagging that tail. Happy to be up in 5th place and chasing after Slugsy. Slugsy has not managed to close that gap on Baz too much, as he has a poor final corner there. Will he get away without a penalty? He does. But obviously he had a good run by the looks of it, and he lost that because of that. Governor and Kingy still pulling away, but Governor can't quite get on the back of Kingy. You see Rockzilla up into 8th place now, so Rockzilla coming back through a little bit. But Ost has disappeared again. What's happened to Ost? Maybe issues for Ost. He's dropped back down again. So this race is not going very well for him, unfortunately. He had a big lag spike there by the looks of it. DTR cars is all over the back of Tim now. And then a big gap to Hansa and Rockzilla then, who then have a big gap to that front pack. And these guys are still really close, but Slugsy pulling away now with SRT and Pup battling. So Slugsy starting to close that gap on Baz. Now he's got nothing to worry about from behind. So let's see if Slugsy can close down Baz and Governor can close down Kingy, as we have 4 minutes left to go in this one now then. So these are our 2 most interesting battles for the podium here. But then we've got a good battle going on between Pup and SRT for 5th place as well, with Bucky lurking in the background for any mistakes that might happen. And then it looks like we've got a couple of little battles further down as well. Let's see whether Governor's catching Kingy, which he is. He's definitely much closer again now. Managing to find a bit of rhythm as he pushes, making less mistakes maybe. So he should be able to get back into slipstream again now. But maybe that's where he's struggling. Maybe when he gets right up on King Gears, he just can't go through that twisty section of the track where Kingy's car's much better. And I cannot tell if he's got any control over that car at all, the way the lag is there. So that's unfortunate. Hopefully it ain't affecting people's attempts to overtake each other. But let's see. Yes, Slugsy's really closed up on Baz now. As DTR cars apologised to Ost there, so as Ost ended up dropping back again, unfortunately. Or was it just where Ost was getting past DTR? Was there a minor contact, maybe? No, DTR was all over the back of Tim, wasn't he? And there's a 7-second gap between these guys now. As someone else unfortunately disconnects. This is not going well. We've had 2 cars now disconnect. I'm not 100% sure who it is. The front guys are still there. If anyone can notice who we've lost out the lobby, if you could let me know. As Slugsy is getting right up on the back of Baz now, but look, Governor again just dropped away from him. I wonder if every time Governor gets close to Kingy, he just can't stick with him through that twisty section, and either he's getting a bit of dirty air or he's just pushing too hard, and not quite sure. Shouldn't be much dirty air with these Group 4 cars, but there's clearly something where the Governor is struggling, because he's clearly got the pace because he keeps closing the gap back up. As Slugsy now is right all over the back. Hey Andy, yeah, hopefully lag can be fixed, but I highly doubt it, to be honest. The more features they add, the worse it's likely to be, rather than the better, unfortunately. So Scary is one of the guys that gone. Yes, he is. Blitz, well noticed. I'm trying to see if I can spot who the other one. So Scary for DTR is unfortunately gone. And who else has ended up dropping out? Is we still got Christian? And Christian's the other one that we've unfortunately lost. So that's not good going. I hate to say I'm not surprised, but looks like Kingy's pulled away at the front now, so Governor may be settling for second place now. Not only a couple of seconds, this should be the last lap now. 15 seconds left, so this should be the last lap. So can Baz hold Slugsy off for this final lap? So let's just watch this battle now then, see if Slugsy can find a way to get that podium. He is putting Baz under immense pressure, but this is where Baz's car will have the slight advantage. Slugsy pushing hard now, trying to pull back for the late apex, but doesn't quite manage it. Goes a little deep, can't get the exit speed he would have wanted. So Baz using that car to its advantage at this section, and he's going to be far enough ahead to hold third unless he makes a mistake at the final corner now then. As we should have Kingy. Yeah, Kingy in first, Governor crossing the line second. Here comes Baz and Slugsy now then. So Baz taking home third place, with Slugsy in fourth, Pup fifth, SRT sixth, Lucky seventh, and then nice gap for Rockzilla in eighth, with Hansa bringing home ninth, and Tim to bring home 10th, and then we have Ost finished in 11th, D-Max in 12th, and DTR in 13th, who unfortunately seem to struggle a lot in that one. That car can be a bit of a handful, and clearly that was the case around this track. Hey Paul, how did your race go? P1, I hope. So our qualifying was over basically straight after it ended, but obviously the race, everybody's finished and the bloody game doesn't end it, so it is what it is, isn't it? But hopefully the guys that disconnected can get back into the lobby. As you said, Christian and Scary, so hopefully they can get back in. But I didn't see anything that would have caused either of them to quit, so I'm presuming they both just got disconnected. Oh, so you didn't have a particularly good race then, Paul, I'm guessing? After all them hours of practice you've been putting in as well, I'm disappointed. But even the AI controlled cars have now done another lap. So for those that don't know, obviously reverse grid for the next race. And as said, in the wet as well, so it'd be a bit of a struggle for these guys to maybe come through in this one. Bit harder to get through the traffic in the wet. What, so you drove well in the game. I'm presuming you were having your screen freezes then, Paul, quite regular, which, to be honest, the state of the lobbies by the looks of it tonight, I'm not that surprised if you were getting screen freezes. So it was Hansa turn one that hit us, so we did see him wait up for that. Because obviously he's apologising there. It looks like Ost was used as a bit of a battering ram in this one. He seemed to be involved in a couple of little incidents, unfortunately. Didn't have the best of races. Three screen freezes, not too bad, Paul. Could have been much worse. Probably go to at least 6 for the main race now. And the problem at these tracks, if you get them, it's a bit difficult to overtake. So you get a screen freeze and drop back behind someone, it can be even worse because then you can get stuck as well. So Governor was honking Kingy, I presume. Yeah, DTI is extremely esports ready. You know, every car was smooth as butter going through the track, not jumping around at all. As people want unticking, so DTI, have you got this on? Have you just untick? There you go, you've noticed. So just D-Max now to notice, hopefully he does. Unless he's away from a PlayStation. There we go, he has. So I'm presuming this is hopefully for guys joining back in, but neither of them have rejoined the lobby, so I'm not sure if they will join back in. Hey, Binny. And here we go, here's the rain. It's incredible how quick the weather can turn in it. Got one of these Japanese storms going on. I think it was Andy, yes. I'm not 100% sure, but I definitely think I saw the car go past backwards. Oh, is SRT going for a big drift there? And another one. So SRT showing us his car control there, joining a drifting circuit rather than the racing circuit. We'll see how everybody handles this. SRT goes for another drift, but does keep it on the track. Tim's changed. Looks like someone mentioned collision penalty, so I think he'd have turned that off. Because I think, unfortunately, in the rain, you're going to have to rely if someone makes a mistake. Very easy to get caught in their mistake. But hopefully everybody can keep it as clean as possible. It's nice to see that the window wipers work, innit? In cockpit view, and the window wipers aren't even working. Oh, there we go, they're working on Hunter's car. Box must have just turned them off with a button. As Roxzilla spins there. So Rock now struggling. See how lucky he's getting on. But most are handling it okay. Slugsy intermediates at the moment. See whether he starts on them. But everybody else on the wets. Definitely wet conditions, but I mean, it's not miles off intermediate, so maybe we will see someone like Slugsy take a risk for those intermediates so he doesn't have to pit with everybody else. But I'm presuming everybody will probably try and go till dry tyres anyway. It's just whether they start on wets or intermediates. But then I imagine they'll all wait till it's dry enough for dries before pitting. Or they might try and, depending when it goes dry, they might try and stay on till when they can get enough fuel in to get to the end of the race, so it's still a one stop. But it'd be interesting to see if people try and make it a two stop. As Governor goes off there. Big puddles off on the grass there by the looks of it. if SRT is getting more used to it or if he's still doing a bit of drifting. Yeah, he's still doing a bit of drifting. Showing some good car control though, because he's sort of all over the place, but he ain't crashing. He's keeping it on the track. Looks like Lobby 2's having a few issues again, so unfortunately the game is not having a great night. Oh, well done, Matt, for hitting Paul. We like to hear that. Good luck in your next race, Matt and Paul. Hopefully your lobby gets going all right. So underway now for the second race. See if everyone can get a clean start. Hansen made contact with Ost in the last one, and he's now behind Ost. But he keeps it to the inside. Who's that on the outside? Oh, and someone else has gone off. A little bit of a pinball effect there. And a few drivers look like they went off there. But it looks like only one spun. It looks like the others got away with it a little bit, and I think it was Lucky. Yes, it was. Unfortunate for Lucky there. And Ost again. Ost was one of them that got caught up, and then he crashes himself. So it's a nightmare night for Ost, this, unfortunately, as Baz has gone off now. Not quite sure what would have happened there, but no one's waited, so I'm presuming it was a mistake by him. As Governor and Kingy trying to make their way through the pack here. If you're going to have an incident like that, though, it's best to have it early on. You can keep going then, and you're still in the race. Oh, as we see another car go off. That's Kingy, I believe. Yes, it was. So Kingy gone off there, so everybody's struggling here in the wet. So who's up at the front? We've got SRT up at the front, who was showing us some drifting skills. So SRT will be hoping to handle these wet conditions well. With Rock right behind him. And then Hansa followed very closely by Putt there. And Slugsy looking to get involved. Then we have Tim with Governor right on his rear end as well. And D-Max Racing is also right on the back of those guys. As Governor does look for the move, but Tim defends that inside line. But Governor, if he gets a good exit, should have the straight line speed on that car down the straight, and he does. So he's getting the run on that car, so Governor should get by into turn one. Just if he can make it stick. Is Tim going to... Yes, Tim defends it. So Tim is going to defend this to the inside now then. So let's see if Governor can sail it round the outside on a wet track. Or whether he's not going to risk it. He is going to risk it. And Tim just squeezes him off, but he survives. So luckily Governor manages to keep going there. He took a risk on the outside in these conditions. But he lost a position, but he got away with it. It could have come out a lot worse from that. Do you not fancy racing in all this lagginess, Andy? I thought you'd enjoy this, you know, bit of cars jumping around. You know, you're always laid back when it comes to technical issues. So SRT has managed to pull a gap at the front now. So SRT managing the rain really well. Got very good car control by the looks of it. We should have checked if everyone is on wet tyres, so let's quickly go through. See if we can spot anyone. Yes, Slugsy is on the intermediates. So let's see if that plays into Slugsy's hands later on. He is in 5th place at the moment, and he has chose to use those intermediates. So a little bit risky for him at the moment, but that might pay off later on. He might obviously start to close people down as the rain stops and the track starts to dry. Hey, Jazz. Yeah, it looks like so everybody is on wets, barring Slugsy in 5th at the moment. So that strategy is paying off at the moment for Slugsy, but obviously if he has an incident that will change matters, as Governor has got up into 6th now and Kingy into 7th. What's happened to Tim? Tim is back behind his teammate Baz now, so Tim must have had an issue in the end. And Ost all the way at the back, so Ost really struggling in this one. Didn't have the greatest first race, started fairly near the front, and he's not having the greatest second race at the moment either. So let's see if he can make his way through for later on. Tim's starting to drop away from Baz now then, as Baz will be looking to make his way forward after his early mistake. Bucky all over the back of D-Max Racing here, so good little battle going on between these two. Just struggled to get the power down out of there. So let's see Kingy now, he's got 2 seconds to catch up to Slugsy, and Governor has got back. I wonder if Slugsy's had a bit of a moment, because Governor's got by and pulled away, or if it's just the tyre difference at the moment. But Slugsy will be hoping as the rain stops and the track dries up that those intermediates will come into play in his favour. But maybe at the moment, not quite got the pace of the wet tyre runners. Yeah, he was over a second slower than Governor on the previous lap, so definitely those aren't quite the right tyres at the moment, but the risk might pay off, might save him a pit stop, or might get him faster at the end of this stint while everybody tries to get to soft tyres whilst the track dries. The Governor looking to chase down Pup now then. But Pup doing fairly well in these conditions as well, it seems. And they are both in the same car, so... And then Hanzu third, so huge gap at the front now for SRT. So SRT is flying in these conditions. 2:13.9 fastest lap. So Governor was flying. Let's see what lap 2:15.4. So SRT in the wet here has got control of this race. Hopefully as it dries up he will be able to keep that control though. But he's definitely flying in the wet at the moment. Nobody can even touch him. He's several seconds a lap ahead of, and consistency-wise as well, pretty much identical lap times. So he's really pushing this car, but controlling it. Voxilla not doing too bad either, but maybe having a few more little moments. And Hansa happy in third at the moment. And Governor has now got all over the back of Pup, so let's see if Governor can dispatch Pup. Of those that started at the back, he is making his way through the best so far. But Kingy isn't too far behind, only one car in between them. But there is 5 seconds or so. Let's see, will he go for something now? No, he's just going to sit behind him. Probably going to wait for the main straight and the run into turn 1. And if Pup's seen him catching that quick, then maybe Pup won't bother fighting him and he'll just let him go by and hopefully use him to get by Hansa. But actually, now that these two have caught Hansa, Pup might be more interested on going for a move on Hansa himself than worrying about Governor, who has a big slide by the looks of it there. but he holds it well. But these guys are now 10 seconds off the lead. So they'll be wanting to get by Hansa here, and then they'll have a bit of clear air. And that'll be where it's interesting to see what Governor can do. Let's see if Governor goes by. Looks like Pup might have just lifted a bit and let him by there, because he got by very quickly. Unless Pup had a struggle on the exit, Pup pulls out to go for the move, but nearly loses the car, but luckily gets it back under control. So no contact made with Governor there. So let's see how Kingy's going on. So Kingy has got past Slugsy now, but the track is coming into intermediate conditions now. So Slugsy might have the advantage again now. So he's weathered the first couple of laps where he was on the wrong tyres, and this is where his tyres might come into effect and might be the better option. So we could see him getting back by Kingy very soon. As Lucky Bucky not too far behind either, but Baz all over the back of him now. And Tim trying to stick with him the best he can, and Os trying to bring his way back through as DTR coming in for the pit. So is DTR gonna go for the intermediates? Because there's no way he can be looking at a soft stint now. He must just be going for the intermediates. As Pup has dropped back from Governor now, so maybe struggled on this lap. So Governor will want to get past Hansa and then use that clean air to put in some laps to chase after SRT and Rockzilla. Because as it stands at the moment, that gap just keeps getting bigger and bigger to SRT at the lead. It's up to 7 seconds from Rockzilla now, so SRT in full control of this race at this stage. But we're only 10 minutes in, and this is a 50-minute race, so 40 minutes still to go in this one. So 7 seconds when you've still got 40 minutes to go could easily be reeled in if someone else can get pace in their car as the track dries out. But I definitely think intermediates will be coming into effect now, as Governor is probably going to look for a move on Hansa coming into turn 1, like he did on Pup on the last lap. And Governor does now set the fastest lap of the race. Pippin, but so does Kingias as well. So Kingias and Governor starting to get into the groove now and fly in, trying to chase down these front guys. But obviously the track conditions should be getting better, which is where it'll play into Slugsy's hands, as Governor is still stuck behind Hansa. But is he going to go for something now? No, he's not. He's going to sit behind for now, playing it patient, as he probably should. Kingy's now got some clear air though to chase after Pup, so he can close this gap on Governor and the top guys now. And Slugsy will be hoping to use them intermediates now that the intermediate should be the better tyre to be on. So Slugsy now should have the advantage, but he has obviously dropped back to 7th in the process of them early laps, with the tyres not being the tyre to be on. And then as we move back, we've got Lucky going past Baz now. So Lucky making the move on Baz. Or is that Baz trying to make the move on Lucky? Might be Baz trying to make the move on Lucky. Let's see, good little battle between these two going on. Thought Baz was going to run out onto the grass there. He was right out on the curb, but he got it back on the track before it got to the grass. As Lucky's right over the curb now. So you can definitely see a definite dry line now, and the rain does appear to have stopped. So it's just the spray off the track, so the track should be drying now. So we'll have to see who's the first one to come in for dry tyres, as DTR did come in for intermediates, but the track's going to have dried too quick for him, unfortunately. So he's not going to have gained an advantage from that. SRT has come into the pits. I was wondering then how come Rockzilla's taken the lead, but That's because SRT from the lead taking a huge risk there, in my opinion. When you're in the lead, it's on the cusp between intermediates and dries, but to come in for dries in these conditions, as we see someone off. Who was that? Maybe it was. I don't think it could have been SRT. It was Pup. It must have been Pup that was off. Oh no, because Pup's pitted as well, so maybe not. Not quite sure who was off there then. So SRT, I think, yeah, he's struggling. I think he's come in too early. He's took a risk from the front of the pack, and it's going to work out to be the wrong choice, I think. Yeah, he just cannot keep control of that car, and once he's off that racing line, he's just got no grip at all. So I think SRT has blown it here. He's pitted a couple of laps too early, and he's going to go round. Yes, he is. He was in such control of this race, and he's made an error with the strategy, and it's killed his race, unfortunately. So let's see if all these front guys still out on wets. They are, yet none of these guys willing to take the risk at the moment, and the rain is starting to come back down again, so that's going to be a killer for those that pitted. I think it was just SRT and Pup. It was just SRT and Pup that pitted for the dry tyres, so those two are going to be in trouble. But look at this, Slugsy getting right back up on the back of Kingy now. So Slugsy's intermediate tyres coming into play, but the rain is starting to come down again. So now that the rain has started to come down again, that's a real struggle, as we've got someone off the track there, not quite sure who that is. See, it's Pup. Yeah, it's Pup and SRT. They've took a risk on strategy, and it's not paid off. The rain is now coming down harder. These two are going to have to come back in the pits. They're going to have no choice here but to come back in the pits. As Bucky comes into the pits, which is a bit of an odd one in my opinion, because if anything, the track's getting wetter now, not drier. So it's all hotting up at the moment. And this is massive for Governor, who was obviously chasing down the leaders. He's gone from having, with SRT pitting and making the wrong call, he's gone from having a 11-12 second gap he would have had to chase down to just a 2.5 second gap to chase down to Rockzilla now then. And obviously it's great for Rockzilla. He inherits the lead at this moment in the race, and Hansa just happily sitting there in third. Hansa's, I hope I've not jinxed Hansa there. Full 360 though, so you get, oh no, I thought he got it going well, but he spun it again. See, can he get it going? Yes, he does, as Baz comes by, and Tim's going to come by as well. Yes, he does. So, all gone wrong for Hansa now then. So that's good news for Tim and Baz, who go up a position thanks to that. And Slugsy is all over the back of Kingy now. So Slugsy definitely on the correct tyres at this stage of the race. So Slugsy might have made the smartest strategy choice of everybody. And I don't want to say it, but I think SRT and Pup may have made the worst strategy call of everybody. So let's see, can Slugsy get by King Gears now? He's definitely got a grip advantage, you can see it coming around the corners. And this car should be faster in the straights, and if Kingy knows, which I'm presuming Ray would have told him if he's on intermediates, Kingy might let him go. The only problem for Kingy is he probably thinks even on wets he can be faster, which in that situation you then don't want to let the car go, but Kingy does let him go there into turn one. So smart driving from Kingy there, probably going to try and stick with him and see if Slugsy can drag them up to Governor now then. So very smart racing from Kingy is there, as Slugsy goes purple through sector 1. So we'll keep an eye on that gap, 5.5 to the lead for Slugsy. As Governor has now got his gap down to a second to the lead, so he's going to have a battle for the lead soon with Rockzilla. Yeah, he's definitely going to be on the back of Rockzilla soon. He's definitely got the pace, it seems. Let's go down through the order as Slugsy is gaining, bringing that down to 5 seconds now to the lead, and he's pulling away from King Gears. So smart from King Gears to let him go at this stage of the race. Vaz is now trying to catch up, but 10 seconds off his teammate in 4th, with his teammate Tim only 2 seconds behind him. And then Hansa is right back up behind these two guys, so hopefully he can recover from his spin before. Ost brought it back up to an 8th place after his struggles at the start of this race. So Ost doing very well to recover now, but he'll want more from this if he can. D-Max, we've not noticed much with D-Max, but in a 9th place, so doing fairly well after he struggled in that first race. So hopefully he can keep this up as he just drifts around that corner there. Good car control to keep hold of it, as Lucky did put intermediates on when he pitted. So I think it was a bit strange, too much of a pit loss, but it might work out for Lucky. Let's see what happens. But obviously the rain has stopped again now, so the track is starting to dry up again. So some guys might be taking a risk onto softs soon again. As SRT is still out on his dry tyres, he didn't come back in the pits, he's just been dealing with them, but he's 40 seconds behind Bucky, who has also pitted. So that's really not paid off. And let's see about Pup. Yeah, Pup hasn't pitted again as well, he's just put up with the tyres hoping that they'll come to him, but again he's 2 minutes off the lead, so he's obviously been lapped by the top 4 guys, so it's not gone well for Pup on strategy either, unfortunately. So let's move back to the front now, where we've missed a move. Governor has made the move for the lead now, so Governor followed by Rockzilla, and look at this, Slugsy's tyres really paying off at the moment. He's closed that gap up massively now, and he's really opened the gap to King Gears. So Slugsy on the intermediate tyres are the tyre to be on at this very moment in time, it seems. As you can see, Governor and Rockzilla on the wet tyres there, just trying to get on the wetter part of the track to cool them down. So you can tell now that there's a really dry line, so these guys are really wanting to get a bit of water onto those wet tyres to cool them down. And Slugsy wants it to stay in this condition where it's a bit too much of a risk to go to dry tyres, so that he can take advantage of the tyre advantage he's got at the moment, which he is doing. But let's see if anyone now takes the risk. If I was Governor, I wouldn't be taking the risk from the lead. I'd risk staying out for a lap extra rather than coming in a lap too early, as Governor goes purple, so the track's definitely drying, and Slugsy not far behind. So Governor now looking to pull away, but Slugsy going to be looking to get a 2nd place here, because he is closing that gap on Rockzilla and opening that gap up to Kingy. But Kingy may be struggling now in these conditions, because he's getting caught by his teammate Baz now. So maybe Kingy is struggling a little bit in these sort of middling conditions. But it's definitely looking like it'll be time to call the tyres. This is where, if I was Baz, I think I would be taking the risk from 5th. See if anyone further back did take the risk. No, they didn't. We've just... Oh, and SRT did come into the pits again to go back on. SRT, his tyre choice call has just gone all wrong in this race. He has finally come back into the pits after suffering with those dry tyres, and not long after coming back into the pits, it's then back to dry conditions where the dry tyres would have been the better choice. More rain on the radar, says Ray. So that's something to notice these drivers might be looking at. That might be why none of them are taking this risk to come in. And maybe that is why SRT decided to put them intermediates on. As Slugsy is all over the back of Rockzilla now then. So So Slugsy should get the move done on Rockzilla down into turn 1, I imagine. And I can't see Rockzilla fighting it too much if he knows that Slugsy is on intermediates, which he might do with how quickly Slugsy's been catching him. No DTR, you use whatever tyres you want, no tyre requirements in the wet races, mate. As Rockzilla comes into the pit, so Ray saying there's rain on the radar, but Rockzilla and Governor both peel into the pit, and so does Kingy. So they mustn't think this rain's going to hit as Baz peels into the pits as well. But Tim, yeah, and Hansa. So it looks like everybody's peeling into the pits now for dry tyres, I imagine. Let's see what Oss chooses to do now. As Governor, we saw put on softs there. Yeah, so it looks like everybody's coming into the pits now then. So Slugsy's staying out, so Slugsy's going to have to come into the pits on this lap. Otherwise, people are going to get an undercut on him. So Governor onto the soft tyres now then. Obviously was in the lead. Rockzilla gets himself a pit lane penalty, but goes onto the mediums. D-Max stays out on the wets. That might be the wrong call, but we'll see if it gets wetter later on. Kingy onto the softs. Baz onto the softs, but he gets a pit lane penalty as well. Hansa onto the mediums. Tim onto the softs, but he also gets a pit lane penalty. Ost onto the mediums. Bucky onto the softs. DTR still on the intermediate, so he's going to come in now. And SRT onto the softs. So I think it'll be a decision between these guys. Softs, mediums. Will the softs last? Because I don't think anyone... Actually, nobody's fueled up. Some people have. Oh, Baz has crashed. Baz has crashed. He's got damage. So that's not good for Baz, and he's got his penalty to serve. So it's not going well for Baz here. Didn't quite see what happened, but he's got front end damage and front right damage. And he's going to have to serve his penalty with his teammate Tim now. So yes, not everybody has fueled up by the looks of it. So some are going soft, I'm guessing. And Kingy's fueled up, so Kingy will be going softs to the end of the race. So Kingy could be back in the driving seat in this race. So we'll see what happens now. Yeah, so obviously Ears will be going to the end of the race, I'm presuming, Ray. And look at that, just that one lap earlier into the pits, and look at that. Slugsy gets undercut. Kingy was, what, 3.5 seconds behind Slugsy when he come into the pits, I believe, if not more. And he's now 2 seconds ahead on pit exit, so that 1 lap later pitting is a problem, but there's an incident up ahead by the looks of it. Who is it? Was it it was Governor. So Governor gone for a spin there, so that's not good for Governor, especially if he's going to have to pit again. You're looking at the fuel difference, I'm presuming he's going to have to pit again. Unless Kingy's put too much fuel in. But I doubt it. So we've had SRT in control of this race, we've had Governor in control of this race, you know, but it looks like Kingy might now be the one from 3rd place that's looking the most likely. But Rockzilla, I'm not sure what he's done with fuel either, but he is on the medium, so I would have thought Rockzilla would have put enough fuel in the car to get to the end of the race. So maybe these guys can get to the end of the race, and I'm just expecting them to need more fuel than they actually do. So let's see if Slugsy now on the softs, whether he can chase down a podium place. Because as it stands at the moment, if nothing changes, these 4 are going to be the 4 battling for the podium come the end of the race, because there's a fair gap to Hansa. 16.5 seconds then down to Hansa. 2.5 then back to Tim with his teammate Baz all over the back of him. So let's see what these two do now then, whether there's any team orders involved or whether they're free to fight for position. Let's see now then. Go on board with Tim, see whether he lifts or anything. Baz does move to the inside. And he goes for the late brake on his teammate. So they have got by each other fairly cleanly, but I wouldn't have said that was scripted because there was no early lift from Tim or anything. So I don't think that was Tim allowing Baz past. I think it was just Tim not fighting Baz. But I don't think he let him by there. But maybe he did. As Baz spins out again now then. So this race is going from bad to worse to the worst it can for Baz. As he does a bit of a no-no in most racing games, reversing back onto the track, but he gets away with it because the track was clear. So Os now right up behind Baz, and Baz has still got a little bit of front end damage, but luckily he got away with no wheel damage or engine damage on that one, so it shouldn't be affecting him too much. So Os now all over the back of him, so Os will be wanting to have a nice little battle with Baz now then. So Tim now to chase down Hansa, and that gap from Hansa to the front four is becoming bigger as we see yellow flags again. Who is that off? It's DTR Cars, unfortunately. He's struggled a bit in both these races. So it's not quite gone the best for him, unfortunately, but he keeps it out of everyone's way and looks like he's going to get it back on track safely, which he does. But no, he gets the power down too early on the wet part of the track. But he does get going now then. So he's going to come into the pits now then. As we see Kingy going for the move, as Governor must have had issues again, as Governor's dropped back to 4th now. So Kingy makes the move on Rockzilla into the lead of this race. So again, Kingy now coming into the race, 20 minutes left to go, and he is taking the lead and taking control. So let's see if anybody can stop him now then. If we know what Kingy is like, I can't see anyone stopping Kingy now. He's just going to run away and pull a gap because that's what Kingy does. Gov went wide and hit the grass. So that's why Gov has dropped back now then. So we possibly have had strategy errors from SRT and Gov. Slugsy with one of the better strategies, but maybe left it a lap too long to come into the pits because he got undercut by people. If he had come into the pits at the same time as everyone, maybe he could be in the lead of this race now, but Kingy would have definitely been chasing him down in these drier conditions. But I believe Slugsy looks like he's catching Rockzilla, so he'll be looking to move up into a 2nd place in this race. And Governor will be looking to get back up, but as I said, I'm not quite sure if Governor can get to the end of this race or if he'll have to pit again, which might not be good news. You might want to pop in the Discord, Ray, if you're still hearing. So Baz now then still with Ost all over the back of him. Pup, who's again strategy's gone all over the place, he'll be kicking himself at the end of this race. So will SRT, I imagine, because those two were well up there. And I mean, this is what these wet races are about: taking risks, making calls, and unfortunately these guys took the risk and it turned out to be the wrong call at that moment in time, as Kingy is now just starting to pull a gap up to 2.5 seconds nearly now then. So Kingy got full control of this race at the moment, but anything could happen. We've seen a few mistakes from people. There's still be, if you go slightly off the track, off onto the curbs or anything, there will still be wet patches off on the curbs. But there is a much wider dry line now, so overtaking will now be possible and a lot easier than it was before. But as we see, Rockzilla touched the inside curb there, and there was still water on that curb. As Slugsy looking to chase him down, but Governor getting all over the back of these two again now as well. So we could have a spicy little battle for second place going on very shortly. So Hansa's, I believe Tim is catching Hansa maybe. Yes, maybe not by much, but Tim is definitely catching Hansa at the moment. So let's see if Tim can, and Tim is on the soft tyres, Hansa's on the mediums. I believe both of these will definitely be going to the end looking at fuel. Tim's car being slightly better on tyre wear. Hansa's, I know, has been a bit of a handful on the softs in previous races, so that's probably why he chose the mediums, to make sure he can get to the end of this race. Hey Henry. Yeah, the rain's gone, but it's thrown up some problems for people. We've had Baz spinning off, we've had Governor nearly go off and drop a few places. DTR, unfortunately, at the back is having a real tough time with it. So he's off again, so his race has gone totally to pot. So we've had a dodgy strategy call from Pup and SRT, taking a risk that was too much of a risk, and the rain come down again. So they ended up on the dry tyres with the rain then coming down. So they ended up dropping to the back of the field from that front pack. So if you get a chance later on, it might be worth going back and watching back and seeing what happened. But these three are very close together now then. Slugsy's closer to Rock than he's been so far, and Governor's closer to Slugsy than he's been, so presume coming down into turn one they'll be looking for moves, as it looks like Kingy's coming to lap some guys now then. So who is it? It's SRT. He's coming to lap SRT, who looked like he had control of this race earlier on, and then Pup just ahead of him as well. So that's unfortunate for those guys. But here we go. Is Governor going to go for the move? No, he's not. He backs out of that one. Not quite got far enough alongside Slugsy to go for it. But looking at that, I still think Governor might have to pit again looking at them tyres, but he might get away with it actually, and the fuel doesn't seem like it's going down that quick. Oh, that's why I was on Slugsy. Yeah, Governor's definitely going to have to pit again. So this is an odd one for Governor. He's ended up dropped back, so this is a battle for second between Rockzilla and Slugsy really. Governor's not in this battle. If I was Governor, I think I would probably pit now, just to get some clear air and see if you can maybe catch these guys afterwards. But him staying behind these guys, he's doing absolutely nothing, because he's going to have to come into the pits at some point. So yeah, let's see if Governor does come into the pits on this one. I think he should. As Tim's still closing the gap on Hansa, but not by as much now. Keeping much steadier, as Baz is looking to catch back up to Lucky Bucky, but he has pulled away from Oss to put the mediums on. And we've had another disconnect from the lot. I believe it's DTR. Yeah, he was. I don't begrudge him that. He was really struggling, unfortunately, so that's probably why he's dropped out of this one. It's a shame, though. He might come in and let us know. He does like to pop in the stream and put comments, so we'll see if he lets us know what happened there. As Slugsy obviously does get by Rockzilla now, and Governor still staying out, trying to get by Rockzilla. I don't quite know what Governor's doing here. I think he must believe these guys are on the same strategy as him, because otherwise really he should have pitted and got some clear air, because these two are going to the end of the race and Governor's not. So Governor, so we've had a few strategy mistakes in this one, as Bucky comes back into the pits now then. So that gives Baz free rein to chase after his teammate Tim, as Ost also comes back into the pits. So I'm surprised by Ost coming into the pits when he had mediums on. Maybe he didn't put enough fuel in. Yeah, he mustn't have put enough fuel in, because he's fueled up a fair bit there. So he mustn't have put enough fuel in, as we're just coming to 10 minutes left to go in this race. Hey DTR, yeah, I'm presuming you'd just had enough. I don't blame you, to be honest. It wasn't going the best for you, was it? It happens sometimes. I know that car can be a little bit of a handful at times anyway, so with changing conditions makes it even more difficult. So Governor has dropped back again, so all that battling trying to get past Rockzilla, and he's ended up having a small incident and dropping back again. But said he's going to have to pit now, and he's now going to come out behind Hansa. But how far? Amber, Tim, and possibly Baz. So this will be the interesting one to see. Let's watch Baz, and let's see where Governor comes out in comparison to Baz, because Governor could have a few cars to get by to get back up into 5th place now then. But he should be able to do it. He's shown us he's got pace, and he'll be on fresh soft tyres, I imagine, with 10 minutes left to go. So let's see where he's going to come out. Yes, Baz is going to get by him as well. Or is he? Going to be close. Yes, Baz does get by. So now Governor's got the chase on to get back up ahead of Baz, Tim and Hansa to get back to that 4th place. Which is going to be a tough ask even for someone like Governor to do. But we'll see whether he can manage it. Let's just run through the order again now. So we've got Kingy with a nice 6-second lead at the front here. So Kingy's in full control of this race now. But obviously them tyres with 9 minutes left to go and not in the greatest condition. So he's going to have to be careful on the last couple of laps maybe. Then we've got Slugsy with a nice 6-second gap behind him as well in 2nd place. And again, he's going to be in the same situation as Kingy is, but his tyres are actually worse, but not by much, only slightly. So Slugsy's going to be in similar situation to Kingy here. He's going to have to really be careful on the last couple of laps. Rock should have no issues on his tyres, so Rock should have an easy 3rd place here, minimum. But if stuff goes wrong for the tyres of Kingy and Slugsy, Rock is still in contention for a win here if those two have tyre troubles. As we see someone else is in the pits now. So Hansa being chased after by Tim, Baz and now Governor, who is all over the back of Baz now. So let's see. I imagine even Baz will not be able to hold off Governor for long. This car is much faster in the straights, and he's got fresh soft tyres. And Baz, I don't think he meant to give away the inside there, but he has done. And so he's going to have to just concede that position now, I imagine. He is going to try and fight it round the outside though, but doesn't manage to make it stick. So Governor gets through now. So Governor will be looking to get straight onto the back of Tim now then as well. Because Governor will then, when he gets by Tim, he's going to have a 5.5-second gap to chase down to get back to where he was before. So lucky now then, probably in 8th place, a little bit of no man's land. Not going to be able to catch up to Baz without any major incidents, but should be safe from Os behind, unless Os can put in some really good laps. So again, that's going to be Os same, no threat from behind at all. So he's just going to see, can he chase after Lucky, can he put the laps in to get after him? Yeah, Bad Dog, that's what I'm starting to look at Kingy and and Slugsy and think they're going to struggle on tyres. I'm saying I reckon 2 laps they're going to have to do with basically no tyres. They're going to have to do at least 1 lap, I imagine, with no tyres, possibly 2, maybe even 3, depending. So Rock's still well in this fight, but he has just dropped off massively. So Rock has made a mistake because he was only 13 seconds behind before. He's now 18, so Rock has made a mistake, but I still think Rock's definitely within a chance of this one. It'll all depend, because I can't see Kingy and Slugsy, it's not worth either of them pitting now, so if the tyres die, it's just going to be a case of how much slower are the dead tyres compared to Josh's worn mediums. That'll be the main question, but they've not got long to go, them tyres, till the full red. I mean, Slugsy's going to be our first indicator as to how much slower you are on those tyres once they're dead, because I'll stay on board with him now, because it's not going to be long till that happens. As Tim might have made an made an error, as Baz and Governor both got by him by the looks of it. So Governor now on the chase for Hansa. So can Governor 5 minutes to chase down 5 seconds? A second a lap to warm mediums on fresh softs. I think Governor might have Hansa here. He's going to definitely be all over the back of him by the end of this race anyway. No, Ray, I think it's his tyres. Look at his tyres. Front left is nearly fully red. And obviously Kingy's going to struggle soon as well. So I'm presuming he's just trying to get those, because it ain't worth him pitting now. So I think he's just trying to get them tyres to the end of the race. Because if he pits now, he's going to come out possibly behind Baz and Tim. So he could come out all the way in 7th if he pits now. So it ain't worth pitting. There's not enough time left to chase it down. So Slugsy's just going to have to do these final laps. There it goes. There goes that front left completely. 6 seconds a lap slower than he was before now. So this will be interesting to see. Yeah, he basically is, Ray. He's just seeing whether he can get the car to the end of the race without crashing now. I mean, Rockzilla, I think, will definitely have 2nd place back. Whether he will get 1st place back is a different matter. If Slugsy can keep the car on the track, I think he should still be able to bring home 3rd place, because that's a fair gap to Hansa, and Hansa and Governor are going to have a little bit of a battle. So Slugsy should be able to hold 3rd place still. But we'll obviously wonder what happens with Kingy's tyres as well, because they're not far off being off. So yeah, that gap to Rockzilla is really coming down now, but let's keep an eye on Governor as he's just catching Hansa, but we'll keep flicking back to Rockzilla to see how close he is. So where's that's Rockzilla's gap, so I can see on the map where Rockzilla's car is. So if that gap closes, we'll switch back to those two. As Governor now into slipstream range of Hansa. The only problem is not really where you can get past now, but obviously the tyre advantage. Governor should be able to get by on the... Oh no, Hansa runs wide. So Governor does get by already. I was thinking he might have to wait for the straight before he'll be able to make a move, but he has made that move. So he's now going to be chasing down Slugsy, it'll be, with his lap times, but obviously the gap's just way too big. As Rock's not massively gaining on Slugsy here as much as I would have expected. So Slugsy 5-6 seconds off the pace. As Ost does a fastest lap, whereas Ost, he was chasing down Bucky. So Ost has got that gap down to 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds now. So Ost is really pushing to try and get Bucky, but it might be too little too late for Ost, unfortunately, here. But he's not going to give up. Because when's Ost going to cross the line? Yeah, this is going to be the final lap for these two. So 3 seconds in a lap. gonna struggle. The tyre advantage ain't that big. As Tim has dropped way off, yeah, Tim's tyres are dead now, so Tim's in survival mode. Baz not far off being in survival mode. Hans are looking alright, so Hansa should have 5th place secured now then. Governor should be 4th, recovered back to 4th, but he'll be disappointed. He could have possibly had the win in this one. Rockzilla is gaining now, but again, not by enough. Are these guys going to get another lap in? That's the question. If these guys get another lap in, Rock might have this, but if they don't, then Slugsy's got this, as Slugsy's on full survival, Kingy's on survival mode as well. So Kingy should be able to bring this home. So Kingy's definitely going to get another lap. So let's see when Kingy crosses the line and see what the gap is. Yes, these two are going to get another lap. These two are definitely going to get another lap. So but I don't know if Rock's struggling on fuel. Rock's fuel is really gone, so Rock might be struggling on fuel here. So he might not be able to catch Slugsy because of fuel. As Governor does finish the race, so Governor doesn't get a lap in. So that's Governor in 4th, so Hansa takes home 5th. Baz is going to bring it to survive for 6th. So good recovery from Baz, because fairly poor race for Baz. He made a few big mistakes. And Tim is going to bring it home for 7th. So good drive from Tim there. Bucky been very consistent in this one. Just made a strange decision for intermediates, but it hasn't hurt him. Ost really struggled in this. Bad start to both races, and that was his downfall, really. D-Max is going to bring home 10th place. And SRT 11th. But so D-Max is going to be next across the line. Then we can concentrate on this battle between Kingy, Slugsy and Rockzilla that Kingy should have no problem. But obviously he could make a mistake on them tyres. So yeah, D-Max is going to bring it home now. So yeah, that gap's coming down to Kingy now. Even Slugsy's gaining on him, so Kingy's struggling the same as Slugsy. But Rockzilla's just not got enough. I'm presuming he's had to fuel save on this final lap. He's just not had enough to get after Slugsy, which I thought he might have done. But there could still be an error. Let's see now as Kingy's going to bring home the win again. A feeling Kingy is used to here. So Kingy takes that win. Is Slugsy going to bring home 2nd place with his teammate taking 11th behind him? It's just a strange thing to say, and Rockzilla taking 3rd. So great drive from Kingy as usual, what we come to expect. I think I will give driver of the day this week to Slugsy with the starting on intermediates. Totally different strategy to everybody else, and it's paid off for the 2nd place, especially when he's been on survival mode for them final laps. So fantastic from Slugsy for 2nd place. Rockzilla with a great race after struggling a little bit in the first one, it seemed. So a great 3rd place. Governor will be kicking himself, I imagine, because Governor definitely could have won this race, and instead he's ended up in 4th. But at least he got back to 4th, so that's the main one for Governor there. But I think he will be kicking himself, because he definitely could have been higher up in this one. Hansa has had a great race in 5th, just comfortable the whole time. Baz, great recovery to 6th, but a lot of individual mistakes, so he'll be very annoyed with himself. Tim with a very good steady race as far as we noticed to bring home 7th. Bucky again with also a great drive to bring home 8th. Ost, very unfortunate near the very start of this race with incidents, and then really struggled early on, so he'll be a bit annoyed, but sometimes that's the way it goes. As Tim says there, Bucky would have had him one more lap. Yeah, Tim was on survival mode, as we said. And unfortunately, it doesn't now show us the order. But I believe, who did we not have? Did Putt leave out that race as well? Did Putt leave out the race, unfortunately? So because I don't remember seeing Pup late on, but I think the two, Pup and SRT, will be the ones kicking themselves the most, as those two definitely were in much better positions and just made took a risk on the dry tyres at the wrong time, and that's what happens when there's rain. If you take a risk and the risk can get you a lot. You look, Kingy has got a massive jump on Slugsy by pitting one lap earlier, but those two pitting too early obviously lost massive amounts of time. So, but that was a great race. The rain did make it a bit more exciting there. Definitely a lot of incidents going on, but looked like for the most part people kept it as clean as they could. So that was great to see. So that's all for this one. So hopefully we're going to have a stream from someone for the remainder of the season. But obviously just keep an eye on the Discord and you'll find out where that is. So I'll see you for the next one.